You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere.
Good morning and welcome to Matt Nair on Air. Jane Matt Nair, Greg Bach, and Calvin Butonoff coming to you live from our studio here at Radio Park in Racine. You can join us, you can call, you can text. The number is the same at 855-752-4842, or leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream. We stream on Facebook, YouTube, and the platform that used to be Twitter. Very excited to be joined by our next guest. She is running in District 5. Sarah Harrison is here. Good morning, Sarah. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Jane. Good to see you again.
Good to see you as well. Exciting times. We wanted to just start with Sarah about a little of your background and what was it that inspired you to get involved in what is it's a messy thing, politics.
It is indeed. So I am a mother of two lovely people. I am also a former corporate drone. I worked for 20 years in the logistics space, and really I feel that makes me a professional problem solver, and that's what we need in politics these days.
Absolutely.
And exciting news, as of this fall, I am also a college instructor. I'm going to be teaching continuing education at UW Milwaukee.
Great.
I've always been a data geek, and they have tapped me to teach Excel. So
that's wonderful.
Tell me more.
Well, let's see. How much time do you have?
Not much. So, and you know, when it comes to like state senate or state assembly, you know, these aren't Congress, Senate. This isn't governor. This isn't president. This is a very on the grounds representative position. Right. Why this one? Why now? And just to be clear, state senate of District 5 is Brookfield. And What else? Is it just Brookfield, or can you describe us that district?
No, they make it really fun to describe these districts. So it's all of Brookfield, all of Elm Grove, all of Pewaukee, most of West Allis, most of Wauwatosa, a little tiny slice of Waukesha, and a little tiny slice of Milwaukee. So it's 3 assembly districts, District 13, 14, 15.
Okay.
And put together, it's Senate District 5. And this is the first time that we're running this district under this map. The last time there was an election was under the old map. So it's a very exciting time. Being the numbers geek, of course, I looked at the assembly results from the last time.
Yeah.
I ran in Assembly District 15 last time. And when I stack up those 3 districts, it was 50.1% Dem. So flippable, but not a given by any means.
And you've got that's a lot of ground to cover. You have a lot of ground to cover.
It is indeed.
Yeah.
I do have the benefit of, I guess, having run for assembly a couple of times, and we beat the maps both times. I ran for Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez's former seat, which at that time was District 13. So it was kind of the north half of Brookfield, Elm Grove, a little bit of Wauwatosa. And that was expected to be around 41% Dem, and we brought in 44, so we beat it. And then I got drawn into a really challenging district last time that was 36% Dem. Like, you guys, I really considered dropping out when they decided which map
I bet.
Oh, no. And we brought in 41% in a district that was supposed to be 36. So if you get out there and you talk to people and knock the doors, I've been knocking doors since I was 19. Only decided to get involved in running once my kids went to talk to the Waukesha School Board. They were not heard, and so I ran for that school board. Came within 1% in a 60% conservative district. I promise it won't be all stats. I'll stop with all the stats.
But I think it's really important, Sarah, that you didn't win the first time. You didn't, and you keep trying. And I think for a lot of folks who are considering politics, it's like, well, I'm going to do, one and done. That's not necessarily how it works. It takes a lot of time, and just to build up some name recognition takes a long time.
Yeah.
I'm not trying not to
Absolutely.
be funny here, but that just reminds me of Abraham Lincoln. Lost,
Yes.
and then look at what he did with the world.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
and
I'm
that
not running for president, Greg. I'm not doing that. Sorry. I
I
don't have
w-
enough felonies.
I wouldn't. Oh, that's true. Yeah, you don't qualify. You don't like golf that much, and so
It's true.
the question I have for you is kind of like it takes two parts of what you just said. So, that is something we hear from a lot of candidates is that the knocking on the door, the going to the events, talking to the people. I mean, really getting down and discussing what connects us and what do we look for in a representative and in our states. What are you telling? So when you go to the doors, this is a two-part question. What are you telling people? What do you want for? Because you live there, so your
I do.
campaign goals are to do what you want to achieve and create for your district. On top of what are you hearing from the people?
Yeah. So what I'm hearing both on doors and at events, and we're doing these community walk and talk events, which have
Mhm.
been really fun. Um, what I'm hearing is people are frankly pretty pissed off right now about kind of everything, but a lot of it comes down to economics.
Mhm.
People are seeing inflation, they're seeing the cost of healthcare, childcare. I have my youngest just started at UW Madison. He's in the Badger band. Yeah, go Badgers. And 2 weeks before school started, we got this letter saying, "Oh, by the way, tuition's going up." And we're like, "Oh no, it was already high enough." So people are feeling the crunch.
Mhm.
It's the economy, stupid.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line for folks. And of course, there are other things that are important, but if you can't afford your cost of living expenses, everything else becomes less and less
Absolutely.
of a priority,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm a single mom, small business owner with a mortgage. Like, believe me when I say I feel that pain just as much, as the folks I'm talking to.
But that makes so much sense, Sarah, that again,
Hmm.
it's kitchen table issues, which is what we
Yep.
heard about all the time. And you're right. It's much easier if you don't have to worry about how I'm going to pay the rent or if I'm going to have medication or if I'm going to go to the doctor.
Right.
Then you can, if you got that stuff covered, you can worry about more other things. But it's
Right.
those immediate needs that
Hmm.
that we're failing at.
If you're just joining
Yeah.
us right now, we're speaking to candidate for Wisconsin State Senate, Sarah Harrison. She's running for District 5, which I would say all the places, but it is a wide array of places in southeastern Wisconsin. And, there are people in that district, there are people all over the country, but if you are struggling with your economics, if you were struggling to pay for food or for rent or your mortgage or the college or whatever, and then you looked at DC and you see tax breaks being given to billionaires and people in Madison who are saying we're not going to fund education.
Mhm.
I want to say it's kind of a no-brainer to say, well, then vote for the people who will not
Fund
do those things. But it almost, you have to
Right.
convince individuals, one, to look to Madison and DC to see that happening, and also to really make that connection and say, this is how what they're doing is directly affecting you. The inflation and the price of living, the price of gas, not the price of gas, sorry, that the price of everything is directly affected by the decisions that our leaders in our state and federal capital are making. And I have to imagine even some of the most ardent right wingers are starting to see the cracks in the armor here, that this is not the best pathway for the state and the country.
Yeah, I would agree. And just to tag on to that, the incumbent, Rob Hutton, voted against the state budget for the exact opposite reason that I would have voted against it. He said it did not pull back enough funding. And I would have said, or I do say, it did not fully fund our schools, and that's why I wouldn't vote for it.
Yeah.
He wanted to see more funding stripped away. In what world would that be a good thing?
Right. Well, and I
Yeah.
think it's interesting too, because for the first time, if I remember this accurately, they are asking for help now in Brookfield, because the city of Brookfield, right? The state has not been properly funding our communities, Republican, Democrat, you name it, adequately
Right.
for decades. And
Right.
now Brookfield is a relatively wealthy community in southeastern Wisconsin, but even they are having budget issues.
Yeah, there was a referendum, an operational referendum in the spring, and it actually didn't pass.
Right.
And so now they are having conversations about how are they going to adjust services because they can't continue to do all the things that were originally in the budget because they've lost funding for other things. So it's happening everywhere, whether it's Milwaukee County, Waukesha County, or otherwise.
Well, and that's the
Yeah.
question I have for someone who is a self-professed numbers geek, or as Sarah Godlucy calls herself, a numbers dork. But
Yeah.
when you sit down with somebody and try, and here's the ultimate problem that I see that Democrats suffer from, and just in general is talking about the information. So you tell someone in Brookfield, if you vote against this operational referendum, I understand you don't want to raise your taxes, but then the services get pulled back or canceled. So we have to make that investment. I need you to understand why the investment matters. And when you say that Rob Hutton voted no for the exact opposite that you would have voted no, how do you make people at least, I don't want to say understand, but at least be taken in open to the conversation of saying, look, I want to spend this money because these are investments on X, Y, and Z. That's the thing that I don't understand, how modern politicians and or people running can get people to open up to the conversation of how we can invest, because I hear invest, they hear spend. And that's the difference.
Right. So in my logistics background, I needed to bring people together from the person on the receiving dock literally to the people in the boardroom. So I was talking with CEOs, CFOs. Boy, they do not like spending.
No.
And the people in the front, working in the buildings were worried we're going to put their jobs at risk, and the people in the offices are worried we're going to spend too much money. So I had to find a way to make sure I listened to and understood the concerns from both sides of the issue. And then we find a way to find the best solution that meets our needs without putting anybody at risk. So that's a really long way to say you gotta listen and you gotta understand the pain points that people are feeling and help them understand how you can make that a little better.
Well, and I think sometimes that people do not necessarily appreciate all of the services that government provides. And I think there is a misunderstanding occasionally that, well, I don't use any special services, so they can cut them, and I don't care. But you do care because it does affect you, right?
Yeah, I've had folks say, "Oh, I don't care about Medicaid. I'm on Badger Care."
Right. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
no.
and
It's the same thing, guys.
and that's a fantastic job of certain people to present it in a way that doesn't require the explanation
and make it murky.
Yeah.
Right.
We're going to continue our conversation with Sarah Harrison. She is running for Wisconsin Senate District number 5. You can join us if you have a question, 855-752-4842. Stay close. You are listening to Matt Nair on air on the Civic Media Radio Network. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Civic Media. Stay up to date on the latest news and information for your local community and Wisconsin by signing up for our free email newsletter. Visit civicmedia.us/email to get started.
Good morning. Welcome back to Matt Nair on air. Jane Matt Nair, Greg Bach, Sweet Calby on the board, coming to you live from Radio Park in Racine, where you can always join us. Call or text at 855-752-4842. Leave a comment on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Maggie Dawn coming up later on today across the network from 4 to 6. In the 5 o'clock hour, Maggie talks to State Representative Ahmad Rivera-Wagner from Green Bay. They're going to talk about the potential closures of veterans facilities next month.
Yeah.
If the legislature does not act. So join Maggie this afternoon. Great show from 4 to 6 across the network.
We talked about that while you were away, and it's a matter of $1.9 million. So let's get that together. Or someone just rich. Someone rich just funded. Somebody.
Wouldn't
Sorry.
that be nice?
Yeah.
I'm sure there are. I've heard of people who have that for lunch money, so I'm sure it's available somewhere. Our guest is Sarah Harrison. She is running for Wisconsin State Senate District number 5. And Sarah, we wanted to come back and just ask you about. We heard a little bit about your door knocking and a lot of time that you spend talking face to face with people, which is really the way to do it. What are you hearing about that from people that is not getting done, that they would like to see actually get done?
Yeah. Well, they would love to see our schools fully funded. That's an issue we've been fighting for a long time. And it's one issue that you definitely hear from people on either side of the aisle saying, teachers shouldn't be out there buying school supplies. Why am I having to do a fundraiser every week? This week I'm selling pretzels, and then next week I'm selling popcorn. And there's an awful lot of pressure there. And what's really scary about going to like a fundraising type of model is that those folks who are in the lower income areas really suffer. It's awfully difficult for them to bring in money from the community because they don't have as much, spare money in
Sure.
that community.
Mhm.
So really hearing that the costs need to be under control. I talked with a woman the other day who said her daughter is expecting and got put on a wait list right away for a daycare. And they said, well, hopefully we'll have a spot for you, in the first 6 to 9 months after you give birth to the baby. And she's like, oh, what do I do until then?
Yeah.
And even once they do get in, it's going to cost almost as much as their mortgage
That's
payment.
just crazy.
We have all sorts of things to sort through there, and people are feeling the pain for sure.
I think it's really interesting, though, because I think there might be a misconception that people on the right hate public schools. That's not necessarily the case. There might be support for alternatives for charter schools and things like that. But I think, again, most people like their particular public school. It's
Right.
that public school that's a problem, right?
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, you see that all the time. It's funny because it's like NIMBYism on school, Um,
Yeah.
Right.
no,
Yeah.
public schools are a problem, but not my
And
public school.
I love my
great.
school. Yeah, my kids'
yeah,
teachers are
right.
great.
It's the opposite. It's please in my backyard. Please in
Right,
my
yeah,
backyard.
yes,
Yeah.
in my
Yeah.
backyard, YIMBYs. Yeah, for sure. And we know that a strong public school system is not only good, of course, for the kids and the parents, but it's good for society as we move on and these kids go on and go to a trade school, go to a college, go right into the workforce. We want them to be well prepared and to understand, the facts and how to put together numbers and reading, writing, arithmetic, all that kind of stuff. But you also want them to have an idea of the society and some of the civics and how our system works so that they can be full participants. And that's really an important part to having a successful society.
And we actually we talked about this too while Jane was away on vacation, and that the GOP in Madison is always really quick to pat themselves on the shoulder for giving any money to education, even though they've suffocated K through 12 for a long, long time. And I went last year to my ballot and voted yes on an operational referendum for schooling in Kenosha, which, by the way, was one of the few that failed. But I don't have children. But
Yeah.
I understand the importance of a strong public school education. I understand that if they're not going to do it and we have to, that's our burden to handle. And I said yes, because as you just put it wonderfully, Sarah, it's not about whether or not I have kids. It's whether or not I want to live in a community and an economy which fosters good education for young people to then to grow up to be contributors and make it better for me, maybe. I don't know. But once again, going back, I see this not as you're raising my property taxes. I see it as we're investing in our schools. And that's more important than, say, the few $100s I have to pay more, which it hits, but I can afford it. Thankfully, but to me, that is not a tough decision to make. But it failed because people are tired of having to foot the bill when Madison's doing nothing.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm running
true.
for office. I'm just kidding.
All right.
No, I'm not.
Let's be
No.
coworkers, Greg.
No, you don't want that. Oh God, I'm so frowny
I'll talk to
all the
Jane
time.
later. I'll
There
get
you
the
go.
scoop.
Well, yeah, absolutely. We got about a minute and a half left, Sarah. Any final thoughts that you want to share before we have to move on here?
Yeah, absolutely. So I love getting out in the community. I love talking to people. I am honored to have the opportunity to earn their vote. I show up, I listen, and we've seen that Rob Hutton does not show up. He doesn't show up for our schools, our workers, our rights. We need someone new, and I'm ready to step in and fight for the people of District 5.
Sarah Harrison has been our guest, a candidate for Wisconsin State Senate District 5. We will talk to you again. Thank you so very much for your time, Sarah. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jane.
We have news coming up next, and then when we return, we celebrate Robert Redford before we wrap up the show with This Shouldn't Be a Thing. Today it is the Bold Ball Bouncing Edition with a video element. You don't want to miss it.
Grand.
Stay close. You're listening to Matt Nair on air on the Civic Media Radio Network. Good morning. Welcome back to Matt Nair on air. Jane Matt Nair, Greg Bach, Dr. Slide on the board, coming to you live from our studio here at Radio Park in Racine, where you can join us. You can call or text at the same number, 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we will wrap up the show as we always do with This Shouldn't Be a Thing. Today, the Bold Ball Bouncing Edition.
You know, this is one of those situations where I really want to make a plug for the live stream, because when we have certain Tisbats, your face can be neutral.
Yeah.
Sometimes you seem rather irritated that news ever happened in the first place. But today it is the Cheshire grin that you present when you like it, because one, I think you just like saying bold balls bouncing
There's
on the
an
air.
alliteration there that just makes me happy.
FCC has nothing on us.
Can't do it.
But also, yeah, the video component is both informative yet angering at the same time.
And disturbing slightly. So, yes, stick around for This Shouldn't Be a Thing coming up around 10:51-ish. Right now, though, is the portion of the show we call Audio Sorbet, where we get away from politics and try and take a collective breath so we can reorient a little bit.
It's the radio version of touching grass.
Exactly.
There we go.
That's a
We clean
great
your
idea.
ears with fun.
Cleaning your ears with fun, as Greg says, yes. And we wanted to celebrate the life of Robert Redford. It was the news broke right before we were coming on the air this morning that Robert Redford has passed away at the age of 89. He died at his home outside of Provo, Utah. The statements announced by Cindy Berger, the CEO of his publicity firm. He had died in his sleep. Did not go into details except to say he was surrounded by those that he loved.
I love that.
And honest to gosh, you guys, and I'm a Robert Redford fan and have been for a long time, but until I started seeing some of these articles was I reminded of all of the incredible movies he was in and directed.
And the things too, he was a fantastic human being too. He just had a very, for a guy who was lauded as one of the best actors, rich and famous and super handsome, and he just also, anytime I saw him interviewed or anytime you hear someone speak about him, he also had this very level-headed viewpoint of life, himself, the absurdity of Hollywood, and just, he was an actor. Yes, we adored him as the Robert Redford.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, he was just a guy doing what he loved, trying to be the best person he was. And I don't know of any stories out there that are like, you know who really sucked? Bob
Redford.
Bobby Redford.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. He was an early advocate for environmental issues. He was absolutely the person who saved Sundance.
Yes.
And really turned the Sundance Film Festival into a big thing to the point where I actually saw a quote from him. You know, Sundance, what it started out was a very small opportunity for independent filmmakers to get their things seen. And then it became an event.
It's
where all the big celebrities would go, which he hated that. And actually at one point said, I hate all these influencers. I want the ambush marketers, the vodka brands, the gift bag people, and the Paris Hiltons to go away forever. He said during Sundance in 2012, they have nothing to do with what's going on here. Because again, it was meant to be a small opportunity for small filmmakers to get a chance
Yeah.
in Hollywood. And that did happen. He helped make that happen for a lot of really small films.
When you think of film festivals in the United States, Sundance, Tribeca, New York, Telluride, those are the big ones. I mean, they're the ones outside of the United States. There are some that are gaining traction. South by Southwest, Toronto, of course, but that's Canada. But Sundance, and I would say Sundance and Telluride and Tribeca are like the three that when you hear people say I got into this film festival, that's a big deal. And Sundance is because of him. Because also he just loved movies.
Yeah.
And he wanted to use his platform, his power to help those who just wanted to create. And that's what it always comes down to when you work in a creative industry, which I do, is if you are of the right mind and you have any bit of power and any bit of platform and any bit of ability, you want to hand it over to people who have something to say. Stand back and let them do their thing.
855-752-4842. Your favorite Robert Redford movie. What was your favorite out of all of the films that he did? And he did so many. Your favorite film made you laugh, made you think, made you feel. 855-752-4842. We are celebrating the life of Robert Redford, who passed away earlier this morning at the age of 89. Calvin, one of my favorite movies is Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. There are some really, really great moments in that movie. I saw it early on when it came out, and I didn't get all of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I've watched it numerous times since then, so I could actually understand all of the jokes. But Calvin, let's play that little clip from Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, please.
Ready?
They're trapped on a cliff.
No, we'll jump. Like hell we will.
They're
No,
way
it'll be
outnumbered.
okay. If the water's deep enough, we don't get squished to death. They'll never follow us. How do you know? Would you make a jump like that and you didn't have to? I have to, and I'm not gonna. Well, we got to, otherwise we're dead. They're just gonna have to go back down the same way they come. Come on. Just one clear shot, that's all I want. Come on. We got to. Up. Get away from me. Why? I want to fight them. They'll kill us. Maybe. You want to die? Do you? All right. I'll jump first. No. Then you jump first. No, I said. What's the matter with you? I can't swim. Why, are you crazy? The fall will probably kill you.
This scene is hilarious. Yeah. It's just hilarious.
And that's something that you don't generally attribute to Robert Redford, is
being funny.
Being funny, comedy. You look at movies like The Candidate, The Sting. I would venture to say that Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid is as much a comedy as it is action, because there's a lot of funny stuff in there.
There is.
And he just had that ability, and he did it best. He was never wacky. He was never weird. He was just, for me personally, it's very British humor of dry wit, quick dialogue, great banter. That's what makes great comedy in my mind, for me at least. But yeah, I mean, that is definitely in the top 5 when you mention him. And of course, another one, I mean, I apologize. I forgot what we have clips for, but if we don't have it, but just All the President's Men. I mean, that's another one with Dustin Hoffman. That is a movie that just, it was a firestorm of a film.
Absolutely. And inspired a whole generation of people to become journalists.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
855-752-4842. Your favorite Robert Redford films. As we celebrate his life, he passed away this morning at the age of 89. What was your favorite Bob Redford flick? Terry from the Northwoods is on the line. Good morning, Terry. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, I want to throw in All the President's Men.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's, him and Dustin Hoffman were super in that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I also like Jeremiah Johnson. So, I mean, the list is, like you guys are saying, a long list of excellent work.
Yeah,
he turned in.
You forget, too, right? I had forgotten Jeremiah Johnson. I saw that, too, when I was a kid. 3 Days of the Condor.
Yeah.
Is another really good film from 1975. Thank you so much, Terry. Appreciate it. And then you had also mentioned The Sting from 1973. which also has some very, very funny moments in it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I told you that I had to watch that movie. And I mean, I had the opportunity to watch that movie for a film class, and I'd never seen it until then. And it's like a great band. You hear about these things, they're in the ether, they're in the culture, and you've never taken part. And then when you finally do, you get why everyone loves these things. And The Sting is one of those movies that just really, it's just great. It's a great movie.
It is a great film.
Yeah.
Liz from Saukville texting in, listening on WAUK. There's so many Robert Redford films. A River Runs Through It, which he directed.
Yes.
Quiz Show, which he also directed.
Yes.
The Horse Whisperer, another really big film. Speaking of Quiz Show, I was in Sundance that year with a girlfriend, and the star of Quiz Show,
John Turturro?
No, the investigator. I am drawing a blank. He was on the Alaska show.
The Alaska show? You are not.
Northern Exposure.
Oh, Rob Morrow?
Rob Morrow
Okay.
was standing behind us in line to see a movie.
My mom loved that show.
It was Quiz Show is a brilliant
My God.
film.
This cast.
Oh, yeah.
John Turturro, Rob Morrow, Ralph Fiennes, David Paymer, Chris. I mean, this is a who's who of both stars and character actors.
Yeah, it's a great film.
My goodness.
He was in Barefoot in the Park. That was one of his earliest films. I wouldn't say it's one of his best.
No, and it's not very, very much not of the.
Not politically correct anymore.
If you cringe easy, don't watch that movie.
Yeah, but Luann from Wanderers listening on WLAK in Amory, The Way We Were.
Mm-hmm.
What a heartthrob.
And I like what you said.
Hubble.
Before we went on the air, you said, even Sneakers was good.
It was.
I know, but
Sneakers was, and it was one of those smaller or early day computer hacker kind of movies.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're gonna make a movie about what? The internet.
But but it was a good film. Ordinary People.
And
another one.
And I know it's hard to like. Well, I know that the comparison might be a little eye rolling for some, but I really do think that his contribution to Captain America: The Winter Soldier was very good, and that is what. And I think he, along with that story, is why when you talk about the best Marvel movies, the best MCU movies to come out, that movie is always in the top 3, top 5, because you don't need to know a lot about either side, beginning or after, or before and after. It's a great spy flick, great espionage, great story, and it explains itself all in one. And he plays a very pivotal role. And it's also, Robert Redford's in a Marvel movie,
right, yeah.
And he brings not to use a very cliched statement, but he brings gravitas to the role, and to get Robert Redford in an MCU
in a film like that
is a big deal. And it's I would suggest, even if you don't like Marvel, that's a good movie.
Directors Quentin Tarantino, James Wan, Darren Aronofsky, David O. Russell, Ryan Coogler, Ava DuVernay, all nurtured by Sundance early in their careers. It became one of the world's top showcases for documentaries. And again, he got increasingly dismayed, I think, by how commercialized it became.
I can completely understand
that. Was kind of the antithesis of what he was looking for.
Sundance brought, for better, for worse, and I'm not going to sit here and defend him, but you can't deny his legacy. Harvey Weinstein to Kevin Smith with Clerks, and brought Kevin Smith to us at Sundance. And if there was no Sundance, I don't know where Kevin Smith would be today, but it was a pivotal moment in his career, and that all happened in that little town, showing movies, because he wanted to give people a chance.
We will include in our show notes this wonderful article from the New York Times about Robert Redford and his long and lustrous career. In our show notes, look for them at civicmedia.us. All right, stay close. When we return, we'll wrap it up with This Shouldn't Be a Thing. Today, the Bold Ball Bouncing Edition. You're listening to Matt Nair on Air. This is the Civic Media Radio Network. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Civic Media. Find the latest news, information, and archives of all your favorite shows on the Civic Media website, civicmedia.us.
Welcome back to Matt Nair on Air. Jane Matt Nair, Greg Bach, and Calvitini on the board, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park here in Racine. You can always join us, call or text. The number is the same, 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. We do have baseball coming up later on today. The Brewers hosting the LA Angels. Broadcast starts at 6:05. You can't listen on the stream. You can listen on terrestrial radio, so catch our broadcast tonight on WRCE in Richland Center, WISS in Oshkosh, here in Racine and Kenosha on WRJN, and on WBZH in Hayward. The Brewers hosting the Angels tonight. Our broadcast starts at 6:05. Coming up tomorrow, it is Wednesday.
Says who?
It is Wednesday tomorrow already.
Oh my
we're going to talk to Bennett Goldenstein. He is a
Goldstein.
Thank you. Reporter with Wisconsin Watch. Looking forward to that. And James Vanderloo.
Oh, he's back.
He is back. We're going to talk tariffs and more reports that I continue to see, especially now about soybean farmers.
Yeah, and that's something that, I really quick, and I just want to say this really, if you're interested in keeping up in the farming world and the news, there are great podcasts. We have the Midwest Farm Report here on the network every morning from 5 to 6 a.m. with Pam Yonke. But also AG Web is a great app that delivers farming news from all over the country. And it delivered me some news like President Trump begging China to buy more soybeans.
Yeah.
It really gives you an idea, and it's kind of unfettered. Like, it's not uncensored, but it doesn't
Unfiltered.
It's unfiltered. It doesn't hold back on frustrations coming from that community, and I think it's a great app. AG Web is the name of it. You can put it on your phone, your device, and it will send you notifications with stories that I have used in the past. It's a great resource, I feel, for this kind of information on the world, because it is. I mean, we love our farmers, but we also don't always know a lot about what's going on.
Exactly. So James Vanderloo will be joining us as well tomorrow in hour number 2. Right now, though, 10:55 Calvin. That means it's time for
This Shouldn't Be a Thing.
As always, if you find a thing you think should not be, send it into Greg and me at janesays@civicmedia.us, JANESAYS, Jane Says at civicmedia.us. This from UPI, Ben Hooper comes through for us again.
Clutch!
We love his bylines. Headline reads, man spits table tennis ball at a wall 51 times in 30 seconds. And there's video. A serial Guinness World Record breaker took some time during an ocean cruise to spit a table tennis ball at a wall in order to break one of his own records.
Wait. Rewind. Read that first sentence again.
A Guinness serial world record breaker
Not a great title. Okay.
took some time during an ocean cruise to spit a table tennis ball at a wall in order to break one of his own records. David Rush holds the most concurrent Guinness World Records titles at more than 181. He was on board a Disney cruise somewhere in the North Atlantic when he broke the record for the most table tennis balls bounced against a wall from your mouth in 30 seconds for the third time. The man's got goals. He originally set the record at 43 bounces, bested himself in 2024 with 47 bounces, and then managed to break the record for a third time, 51 bounces on day 5 of his Disney cruise.
I'd love to say that his partner was like, hey, can we just have a vacation? But I know that's not the case at all. He was on this boat just to do this. Quote,
to the casual eye, it might look goofy.
To everyone's eye, it looks goofy.
No. But trust me, this record is deceptively difficult. The spit has to be perfectly aimed. Too much pressure, and the ball rockets back higher than expected. Too little, and it drops low and slows you down. Every bounce, Greg Bach, is a split-second calculation. Pressure, angle, timing.
Jane, I know that I'm coming up on the wall here, and that we need to go to the news.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to say what I always say in matters like this, especially when it comes to world records, because we're never talking about like really, truly amazing ones. In the matters of this, it just furthers my belief that we were never what God intended.
I don't know. Have you seen the video? You need to see the video.
I have, and it's made me rethink my beliefs and values. So thank you, everyone, for this gem of a story. Ben Hooper, you're on my list.
Ben Hooper, you did it again. That wraps up today's episode of
This Shouldn't Be a Thing.
You Need to See the Video. Yeah, check it out.
You and I have different definitions of the word need.
If you need a cheap laugh.
Okay, there you go.
That will fill the need. Thank you, Greg and Calvin, and all of our engineers and everyone at Civic. Without you, nothing works. And thank you most of all for calling and for texting and for listening. It means the world. I hope you find some joy today, even if it's just a little bit, and you get the chance to share it. Keep it right here. We have news coming up next, followed by Tom Hartman, 11 to 2, Todd Alba, 2 to 4, Maggie Dawn, 4 to 6, Pete Schwaba, Nightlight, 6 to 8, Native Roots Radio, Robert Pilot, 8 p.m. Keep it right here on the Civic Media Radio Network. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.
The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.